Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 3 of the Dear Kitty Showcase, where we showcase brand new plays written in 48 hours that were inspired by the words, the life, and the legacy of Anne Frank. For week 3, we will be presenting a brand new play called Hands Up, Don't Shoot, written by Kurt Wilkinson. Here's our lovely cast for this reading. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hello, my name is Tyren, and I'm playing Desmond.
Hi, my name is Kenedi and I will be playing Tanya.
Hello, my name is Jason Rivas, and I'll be playing the Chief.
Hey guys, my name is Michael Westerdale, and I'll be playing Gonzalo.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Anthony Abeldano, and I'll be playing Justus.
Hello, my name is Kurt Wilkinson. I will be playing Leonard, and I am also the playwright.
A content warning before we begin. Hands Up, Don't Shoot does feature images of police brutality, racism, and racial profiling. Viewer discretion is advised for this performance. Without any further ado, we present Hands Up, Don't Shoot by Kurt Wilkinson.
Scene 1, police station, late evening. Sounds of protesting from offstage. Desmond is in a jail cell with Leonard, a cop, standing guard right outside the bars. The chief is talking on a walkie-talkie.
I hope you boys all had a nice big lunch. There's too many protesters outside for anybody to leave without causing a violent altercation. We're effectively on lockdown.
Copy that, Chief. Thank you.
Prepare the tear gas in case they get stupid.
Copy that. You see now the danger present because of your actions?
My actions?
Yes, your actions. What you did was a destruction of property. We protected our property against you, which is not only our duty as American citizens, but also our jobs as police officers. We took you in, and now the whole block is riled up. What do you have to say to that, huh? Look at me when I'm talking to you.
I can't look at you because my eyes are still burning from the pepper spray.
Don't do the crime if you can't handle the consequences.
Why can't the punishment fit the crime, huh? My writing hasn't hurt anybody. But you guys tackled me to the ground and pointed guns at my head and made my eyes burn. I have bruises and y'all have nothing.
Our job is to prevent violence and crime from taking over our streets. In order to mitigate incidents, we are extensively trained on the levels of force to use. Officers are allowed to use force one level higher than the force enacted on them in order to protect ourselves and our brothers in blue.
But I'm just one person. Why did you need like 5 guys to take me down? That's multiple levels of escalation to me. If y'all didn't come to arrest me, nobody would have gotten hurt.
But you could have gone on to hurt somebody else.
I'm not a violent person.
But you are destroying property while protesting. At that point, it's no longer nonviolent. And you're out there at the same time as people are looting businesses and breaking windows. Even if you weren't violent, you would at the very least be encouraging the violence that is currently destroying our country.
Leonard walks over to Chief.
But it's you pigs that destroy the lives of Black people every day.
Chief, have we got this guy's file?
Yeah, right here.
Thank you. Let's see how non-violent this guy really is.
That paper can't tell you anything that I can't tell you, man.
Scene 2, corner store, years ago. Desmond is working behind the counter, watching a video on his phone with headphones in, when Tanya enters and gets a soda.
Ooh, 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 yes! Hell yeah, dude! You get him, Duncan! Oh, God, yes!
Excuse me?
Oh, shit. I deeply apologize, ma'am. I didn't see you come in.
No, it's fine. Just the drink.
Okay. I would appreciate it if you didn't let my boss know I was watching videos while I was working. Nobody comes in here around this time, and I need my job, okay?
No, I get you. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
What was that video, by the way? You seemed really excited.
Oh, Don't worry about it. It's nothing that you'd be interested in. It's sports stuff.
I like sports.
Oh, it's actually in the game. It's Street Fighter. It's esports.
My brother plays fighting games all the time, and I play with him. Come on, just tell me what it is. Okay, I'm curious. I've never seen somebody so passionate while looking at their phone.
Well, it's actually kind of an old video. It's from 2004 at EVA, one of the biggest fighting tournaments in the world. Daigo and Justin are playing Street Fighter 3. Now, Justin is playing Chun-Li, and Daigo is playing Ken. Justin has almost got Daigo dead. One hit, and he's a goner. But Justin, he uses Chun-Li's super move, and on Daigo parries all 15 of the hits with frame-perfect inputs and barely lives. And then, my boy Daigo comes back with a super move and wins the match. Oh, it gets me hyped every time I watch it. Oh, damn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand a word of what you just said, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I love that game, but in this instant, it isn't really all about the game. That's important. What's important is the message. That no matter how, you've been beaten up, you can always get back up. We've been beaten down our entire lives for no good reason, but we always get back up. So whenever I'm having a bad day, I just look at that video and it always brings a smile to my face. It gets me hyped.
Wow. That's really powerful. My name's Tanya. Tanya Gowon. What's yours?
I'm Desmond. Desmond Brown.
Well, I hope I get to know you more, Desmond.
Tanya exits. Scene 3, police station.
Desmond Brown, you worked at the gas station at the corner of Lincoln and Robert, but then you got fired 3 years ago.
I quit.
Now you've been unemployed for 3 years. I've seen people like you, so lazy you can't even work at a corner store.
I'm not unemployed. I'm self-employed.
Oh, are you? Well, good for you. I guess you're not so lazy after all. What do you do?
Esports and streaming.
What the hell is that?
I play Street Fighter.
Oh, you're one of those people. Kids these days that think they can get money by playing video games. My son has tried to talk to me about that stuff. YouTube and Twitch and Fortnite and all that.
It's a career. Crap. It's a
Yeah.
legit career.
Sure it is. So is graffiti art. I've heard it all, kid. Excuses for vandalism. You're fit. You don't look like you sit on your ass all day. You play any real sports? Like football? You play football? Come on. Everybody plays football. Let's talk football. Let's talk about some stuff people actually care about, huh? You ever wanted to be in the NFL? All right. Right to remain silent and all that. You went to King High School. That's on 5th Street, yeah? I've done a lot of drug busts there. A lot of kids selling weed and coke. Have you sold drugs? Do you smoke weed?
I don't smoke.
Yeah, sure you don't, kid.
No, I'm serious. I don't smoke. But not anymore.
Ah, see? I knew it.
Well, what does it even matter if I smoked weed sometime in my life? I feel like all of you are hell-bent on trying to make me look like some degenerate. I know the only reason you're trying to grill me is because you're trying to pin something on me. And I also know that smoking is not a crime. Possession is, and I don't possess shit. I know the law, and I know my rights.
You're right. That's not a crime. But I'm not just talking to you so we can grill you. I'm talking to you because I'm bored. What? Cops can't be bored? My shift was supposed to end 10 minutes ago, but I can't leave because it's apparently a public danger to the protesters outside. By staying here and watching you, I'm protecting people.
But you're getting overtime, huh?
Damn right I'm getting overtime. Because I deserve it. Because I work hard instead of playing video games all day.
Oh, you work hard at prosecuting minorities. You work hard to search Black people's and Mexican people's cars for a little nug, just so you can send them to prison for over 10 years of a mandatory minimum sentence when they weren't even gonna hurt anybody.
We don't specifically do that to Black people and Mexican people. We do that to everybody. All American citizens are equal in the eyes of the law, no matter the color of their skin.
So, how many Black people have you had behind these bars? And then tell me how many white people.
I don't count. That's not my job.
Of course you haven't counted, because you haven't thought about it. And why don't you think about it? Why don't you ask why your superiors are ordering you to harass us? You actually choose not to think about it, even though you see it every day. But even though you see it, you never felt it. You never felt what it's like to be a Black teenager walking to your car and be afraid that you're gonna get shot. Going into your car knowing that you might get stopped by the cops for no reason. And when they stop you, having to keep your cool, even though the officer is being rude to you, because you know one wrong move will leave you with a bullet in your head.
Our job isn't to arrest Black people. Our job is to arrest criminals. And you are a criminal.
We weren't being heard, so I took it upon myself to make sure that my people were being heard. I was expressing myself in the message of my people. When Black people try to express themselves, this country sees it as a crime.
And the message? You sprayed ACA. And then we saw you and you tried to run. What was the last letter you were going to put down? It was B, wasn't it? For bastards. All cops are bastards. That's your people's message. If you think that it's me that's disrespecting you, then you're sorely mistaken. How do you think we all feel being called bastards?
Hands up!
Don't shoot!
Hands up!
Don't shoot!
Hands up!
Don't shoot!
I'm Black and I'm proud!
There's getting to be too many of them. We're gonna need to get guys from out of town for backup. Precinct 12, what is your status?
We hear another officer attempting to respond, but the song Chocolate Rain is coming through the walkie-talkie instead of her voice.
They're jamming the damn police scanners! I can't get through to anybody. Precinct 12, we are requesting backup. Do you copy?
The chief's yelling goes silent as Chocolate Rain continues on the police scanner softly.
When we say all cops are bastards, we don't mean all cops individually. Obviously. We mean that by continuing to work for a militarized police force, officers are working for the system that was created to keep Black folks as slaves in the 1800s and continues to dehumanize us even to this day.
But we aren't in the 1800s anymore. All American citizens have rights. You all fought for your rights in the 60s and won.
The chief slams the walkie-talkie on his desk and Chocolate Rain stops. The chief exits in anger.
White people think just because they took down the colored signs from the drinking fountains and desegregated schools that they destroyed racism. But racism is still in our laws and how they're written and executed. White people still have all the power. And the police are basically an occupying military force that's been getting Black people killed, locked up, and silenced for hundreds of years. and you don't even know that you're doing it, man.
I'm an American citizen, same as you. And white people have problems too. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to go to college, get an engineering degree, be on top of the world. I wasn't top of my class, but I wasn't doing badly. I worked hard. I applied for all sorts of scholarships and grants, but I didn't get anything. I found out I was the worst type of person to try to go to college. A low-income white man. And as my mom was telling me we didn't have any money saved up and that I wasn't going to go to college, and when I saw the women and black people in my class with the same grades as me go off to college while I stayed behind, I knew that life wasn't fair. That's why I became a cop. So that even if I can't save up money to go to college, at least I can save up enough money for my son.
I get what you mean.
No, you don't.
I do. I didn't go to college either. I'm not saying that being a white man in this country is a walk in the park. We all got our own problems to deal with. But if you think that you don't have privilege in this country, you remember who's the one behind the bars and not you.
You can get out of those bars when all of you stop trying to start some kind of revolt. Police shouldn't have to deal with this shit all across the country because of one bad apple in Minneapolis.
It's not just one bad apple. You see, cops like you that stay silent about the crimes of their brothers in blue and the corruption of their system are just as guilty. And your bad apples only get a slap on the wrist and a pension, while our bad apples get bullets in our backs. We will stop the revolution when you pigs get your knees off our necks.
I don't agree with that officer's actions either. But we can't allow businesses to be destroyed and hooligans to cause mischief because people are mad about a black guy choking.
George Floyd. You don't just say black guy, you say his name. You say all of our names. Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, Jotham John, Tanya Gowon.
The cop sprays Desmond. Desmond's screams transform into excited shouting as we go into the next scene. As Chocolate Rain plays louder and louder and eventually transitions into Street Fighter music. Scene 4. Gonzalo's house. There are many people there watching Desmond and Gonzalo play Street Fighter, including Tanya. Desmond has just beat Gonzalo in Street Fighter. Everybody in the house is extremely hype and loud, and Tanya is hugging Desmond.
Oh my god!
Fuck yeah, Gonzalo, yeah!
Whoa, get wrecked!
That was some good shit, man.
Yeah.
I told you going full-time was gonna pay off for you. Here's your $200, fair and square. Can't wait to play with the tournament tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, Gonzalo. For real, this means so much to me. You don't even know.
That's my pleasure.
Hey, Desmond. Let's celebrate, man.
Justus takes a bong out of his bag.
Hey, man, I told you not to bring that kind of shit here.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. I didn't think it was that kind of big of a deal.
Well, it's a big deal to me. I'm not a prude or anything, but I gotta be careful. I can't go to jail because they'll send me back to Argentina. I'll lose my house and my career and my citizenship.
Oh, shit, bro. I didn't think about that. Since I already went through the trouble of bringing it, though, can we smoke it real quick?
Okay. I'll let it slide this one time, but next time you guys come to my house, none of y'all can bring that shit. I've had encounters with police already as an immigrant, and I don't want to cause any trouble.
Well, I'll take some. Desmond, babe, you want any?
But babe? I mean, yeah. Yeah, I have some. Yeah. So, Gonzalo, what encounters have you had with the police? If you don't mind me asking.
Desmond, Tanya, and Justus pass the bong around while Gonzalo tells a story.
Well, I haven't told this story to anyone before, but You all know that before I got my green card, I would be traveling all over the world to tournaments. And whenever I went on a plane to the US, I would be very careful because I know that this country has its laws for a reason and I don't want to cause any trouble. So I would over-prepare for interviews that I would have every time that I go to the airport.
Lights change. Chief enters as an immigration officer.
Why are you going to the US? How long will you be staying here?
Now, normally this interview goes fine, but one time something went wrong and the officer told me,
we need you to come over here with us.
And as a Hispanic, I've heard stories of people getting sent to this little room, the Guarito. So my first instinct that this was trouble. Tried not to panic, but I was definitely panicking on the inside. I asked the officer if I could get my luggage.
You're not getting your luggage.
And in this room was every type of Latino you could think of. Mexicans, other Argentinians, Chileans, they were all packed in like sardines. And me going into that room was the first time that I felt collective fear because everybody in there was scared. This officer comes up and yells at me.
Surrender your bags. Give me your phone and the passcode.
And I knew I didn't want to give him my phone because that was the only way I could go on the internet and that people know that something is happening to me and that I might need help.
You should never give an officer your phone. And I'm pretty sure they can't take your phone without a warrant.
Hey, I'm gonna go clean this on the back porch.
Justus exits.
But I was in this middle ground where I wasn't in the US. I wasn't in Argentina, so I had no choice. I gave my phone to them without any complaints. I waited in that room for hours with no food or water. I couldn't use the bathroom or any of my stuff. Eventually, a different officer talks to me, and this one is even more aggressive. At this point, they're not treating me like a person. They're pretty much treating me like a criminal that already did something wrong. And they checked through my phone and brought up everybody I'd ever had a conversation with.
How do you know this person? What did they mean when they told you this?
And some of these people have weird names, like Dark Horse or whatever, because they're gamer people. And I'm trying to explain that to them as I'm coming to this country to go to a Street Fighter tournament.
You come to this country to play video games? That's not a believable story. Tell us the truth.
Like they're trying to find any excuse to kick me out or put me in prison or something. And eventually I had to be like, look, you can look me up on Google, search Gonzalo Street Fighter, and you'll see me. I'm not lying. I'm not a bad guy. And then eventually they give me my stuff back and tell me I'm free to go. I tried not to take anything personally, but then as the officer handed me back my phone, he told me,
one slip up, one minor thing you do wrong, and I would love to kick you out of my country.
Chief exits. Lights change back.
Mm-hmm. And I knew that this happening was not because of anything in my papers, because of the color of my skin. I don't mean to say this to spark any political discussion or anything. I'm about as legal as you can get. I'm just letting y'all know I have to be careful.
Cops are here, man.
Nah. Justus, quit joking.
No, man, I'm serious. I saw them outside. I think they saw my shit. I'm so sorry, man.
Everyone in the room starts panicking and running off stage.
Oh, shit, man. Were we too loud? Did I get too hype? I'm sorry, Gonzalo.
No, you gotta hide in the closet, Desmond. Come on.
Tanya drags Desmond into the closet.
No, it'll be fine. I'll go talk to them.
Gonzalo exits. Tanya guides Desmond into the closet.
Tanya, what are you doing? Aren't you going to hide in here too?
They're gonna deport Gonzalo. I gotta go help him.
But he didn't do or bring anything. He didn't even smoke anything.
You think the police are gonna believe that?
Tanya, wait.
Tanya kisses Desmond. Tanya runs off stage and Desmond hides in the closet. Beat.
Get down on the ground!
Gunshot. Desmond slams the closet door shut. Beat. Desmond begins to silently weep and lay on the ground. The cop and chief enter. Come out with your hands up!
Calm down. There's nobody in here. They all scattered.
I'm sorry, Chief. I still got the adrenaline pumping from shooting that girl. She was unarmed. Are we going to have any trouble?
No, don't worry about it. She was running right at you. You followed your training. You don't know what that girl was going to do. We already arrested the owner of the home. Let's get back to the station.
Desmond stays on the ground weeping as the closet changes to at the police station. As we transition into the final scene, near the end of the transition, a song is heard from the protesters off stage. Scene 5. Police station.
Tanya. Oh, why can't I protect you? Why can't I be stronger?
When fear starts creeping in, we will still be strong. When fear starts creeping in, we will still be strong. When fear starts creeping in, we will still be strong. We will answer with a song. When they try to divide us, we will still be strong. When they try to divide us, we will still be strong. When they try to divide us, we will still be strong. We will answer with song. When they start to kettle us, we will still be strong. When they start to kettle us, we will still be strong. When they start to kettle us, we will still be strong. We will answer with song. We will answer with song.
What do you mean they're kneeling? Tell them to stand up and get back in line or they'll be discharged.
Who do they think they are? Colin Kaepernick? What do they think they're doing?
They're listening.
End of play.
And that was Hands Up, Don't Shoot by Kurt Wilkinson, the final entry for now of the Dear Kitty Playwriting Bake-Off. Thank you to everybody who's watched the last few videos these last 3 weeks. Thank you to this amazing cast and all the other amazing casts that I was lucky to bring together. While the Playwriting Bake-Off might be on hold for now, please, I hope this inspires you to make the most of your quarantine and find ways to still be creative out there and find ways to still have a voice be heard when it desperately needs to be heard. Please stay tuned afterwards. We will be having a talk back with Kurt Wilkinson, the playwright, and our 2 leading actors, Tyren and Kenedi. Until then, stay safe, be careful, and always try to find a positive in this weird situation we're in right now. Hi, and welcome to the talkback portion of this play reading. I'm here with Kenedi Deal, who played Tanya, Kurt Wilkinson, who wrote the play and played the cop, Leonard, and Tyren Duncan, who played Desmond. Just as a quick, as known to his fans, Little T. Yeah. Quick background. Quick background. I went to school with all 3 of these guys. Kurt and I actually graduated together this past year. And real quick, I guess just describe what you've been doing since the quarantine happened, and I guess what projects were you working on before we entered this weird new world that we're in. Tyren, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Since this quarantine hit, like, of course, since everybody's playing, like, in the toilet, flush it down, and pretty much I was in a very confused state as far as where I want to put my energy at post-graduating from Texas A&M Corpus Christi. So pretty much I've been spending time trying to produce my own and stuff and trying to make my own content. I wanted to not only add the label of actor-director to my repertoire, but playwright and producer, because why the hell not? Why can't we do these things? We're all forced to have to be self-sufficient and producing individuals. So I've been putting all my effort toward that. And on the side, I got to experience some of the protests out here in Houston. And it was a crazy experience. And it really opened my eyes about how much you can't take in from what you see, just based off just the cover of it. There's always something underneath it. And I unfortunately fell victim to like the pristine cover of everybody coming out and coming together on Black rights and, you know, Black Lives Matter, when in actuality, it all was a PR stunt for cops, all the way up until the point to when they decided to trap some of my friends that we were protesting with and arresting them. And in that time, we decided to put all effort into making sure they had all the supplies that they need, tear gas solution, water, food, post them getting out of jail because they were pretty much mistreated. And it's something that I had no knowledge of until I stayed there for over 12 hours waiting for my friends to get out and heard some of the confessionals from the people who got let out before them at sporadic times, at an hour, 30 minutes, 15, it was crazy. And from that experience, I decided to join this local Houston organization called Mutual Aid that pretty much is all about supporting protests, supporting Black Lives Matter. We just pretty much marketed and let everybody know, gave them information about Fredericksburg, which is a 5th ward out here in Houston that was founded and built by Black people that they're gentrifying nowadays. So we're trying to spread more light on that. And it's pretty much all-inclusive effort on COVID, racism issues, the homeless, hurricane relief, because hurricane season is right around the corner. And I've just been trying to do my part to help people besides just be on social media and repost a bunch of things, because it means nothing to me if you're not actually out there putting your life at risk for a greater cause. And that's what I've been doing, man. That's what I've been doing.
No, that's great, Tyren. It's called Mutual Aid.
Mutual Aid Houston. So if y'all want to follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, follow us. We have a lot of great things coming to the fruition here in the future, as far as like local food pantries and things of that nature to help you through this pandemic.
We'll make sure the links are definitely in the description. Thanks, Tyren. Kurt, what have you been up to during this quarantine period? Did you also find time to join in the protests or find a way to make your voice heard?
So sadly, I decided to not join any of the protests recently for George Floyd for my own personal safety as a disabled man in the United States. I have osteogenesis imperfecta and I use a wheelchair to go around. So if I start protesting and police start using tear gas and people all start running, then that's not a good situation for the guy in the wheelchair with the fragile bones, sadly. However, I have gone to a protest before. It was an anti-war protest back when Trump was having some problems with Iran, and I got this shirt at that protest. So I wrote this play partly because I did feel bad that I wasn't able to go to the protests and help in the ways that Tyren has been helping with this situation, which is all incredible and awesome. But I think that we should all be helping in our own ways that make ourselves feel the most comfortable. And so I felt like my way of contributing to this was writing this show. And during the quarantine, I've been working in San Antonio as a professional actor. I've been doing some things with the Overtime Theater, a community theater in San Antonio, and I've also been still on the grind, recording some self-tapes for auditions to send around the country that my agent is giving me, and things like that.
Well, that's great, Kurt. And people don't always remember that just participating in art can be activism in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And artists have a responsibility to show that activism.
Mm-hmm.
Kenedi, what have you been up to, and how have you been able to be involved in both, I guess, both in what's going on with Corona and with the current movement that we are in?
Yeah. All this stuff really like sent me for a loop. I guess we don't realize how much bad is happening until it gets posted all over social media, which is horrible and hard to understand and see. But kind of like Kurt was saying, I haven't been able to go to any protests because, well, right now I'm actually in my hometown. I live in Bangs, so it's very small. We haven't had any protests, which we definitely need to. And I would love to travel to Houston or Dallas or anywhere that has any protests going on. I would love to do that. But another thing that we all have to think about is like Corona is still going on and it is still scary. And as somebody who has had a lot of lung issues growing up, it really scares me to put myself out there. Because I know if I get sick, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good.
Right.
But we all definitely have to do what we can, sign petitions, make donations, make art. I've been trying to write as much activism poetry as I can and get it out there. I have an Instagram account that I've been putting stuff on, and I've been sending stuff out to local like Corpus Christi news places to try to get some activism poetry out there. But that's pretty much what I've been doing. So yeah.
Awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the play itself. So Kurt, you had 48 hours to write this. All the writers were given a strict 48-hour period and a list of ingredients that they needed to incorporate into their script. Can you describe your process? Were you somebody that like just sat and wrote stream of consciously, or did you take a day to brainstorm?
Yeah. So I think it was like a Saturday and a Sunday that we had to write it, basically, or like a Friday and a Saturday, and we had to email it to you by Saturday night. So I got the information from it Friday, and at that time I was like, I have this thing to do for the rest of the day. Oh no. And so I didn't spend the entirety of the 48 hours on the script, but as soon as you gave me the stuff and gave me the quote, then that was when I had the idea for the script, basically immediately once I got all of the ingredients, because to me these ingredients were this type of story was how the ingredients spoke to me, because it had options of lockdown, and so the lockdown of course was about Corona, but it also made me think about the protesting going on and the people that are getting locked up wrongfully due to those protests, and also that there was some kind of argument that was based on discrimination, and also like a point that somebody sees the side of the other. And so thinking about this type of story in my head, so I was kind of outlining it the first day, because I knew that I knew where the first kiss was going to be. I knew that the main character was going to be a black man, and there was going to also be this woman that he falls in love with, and that this woman was going to die by police brutality, and it was going to be a discussion mostly. And then the second day, I was just clickety-clackety writing. It was pretty much, as far as the dialogue goes, stream of consciousness for like 8 hours straight. And then I took like a 2-hour break to get dinner, and then it was like 9, and then we had to get it in by 10. So I spent that last hour having my dad read it and things like that, so it could be revised and edited, so that I could get it to you. And then when we started this process of the read-through, we actually first brought in Tyren and Kenedi into a chat.
Let's go ahead and ask Tyren and Kenedi, what were your initial impressions of the script when we sent it to you guys? And then what it eventually became? Because I know we really tried to take as much input from you guys as possible when bringing this to life.
My first initial reaction was I really liked the play. I enjoyed the content of it. I thought it was all very realistically wrote, and all the information that was put in there, it was information that needed to be said, and the way that it was written was very nice, and it was easy to read, which is a great thing, because I mean, throwing a bunch of facts everywhere doesn't really tell the story of the people who are like genuinely going through or dying of police brutality. But I loved it. I loved the way that Desmond was portrayed. and Tanya, of course, but I thought it was great. T.
So exactly what Kenedi just said, but in addition to that, I want to make sure that if I was going to be in the play, especially about this, that wasn't written about a Black person, that the playwright is trying to get people who aren't Black to care. So if that is the case, I'm all on board. And I got a lot of that in this play. And it made me care for every single one of the characters. Especially if you're reading this or if you just, see this virtual recording, you're gonna care about Tanya. You're gonna care about Desmond and his future and Tanya's legacy living on, and people chanting and inspiring cops to take a knee. And this is the kind of thing and representation that we need to see in the world, I guess. It was very relevant, and I fucked with that heavy. I'm sorry if I just cussed, but I'm a very passionate person when I speak.
You can cuss here, it's fine.
Yeah, that was my initial reaction. Besides that, it just needed pretty much me and Kennedy's voices added to it with a little flavor, and that was in, man. We just kept on going, and I've enjoyed the process since.
So one of the big ingredients that was mandatory for the writers was they had to incorporate a quote by Anne Frank. That's why it's called Dear Kitty. She would call her diary Dear Kitty every night as she would write in it. Kurt, what was your quote? And
so I just brought that up. The quote was, "No one knows my better side, and that's why most people can't stand me." And when I read that quote, that was one of the main things that got the story into my mind, because I truly believe that the reason why a lot of this racism happens is because a lot of people just don't see the better side of a lot of these Black people in their communities, because they just don't take the time to talk to them. And that's why their people can't stand other people, is because they simply do not take the time to talk to each other. And I think the line that most exemplifies that quote in the script is the end of scene 1, when Desmond says, "There's nothing on that piece of paper that I can't tell you myself."
Great. And what does that quote mean to you two as actors? I know Kurt had more time to really sit with it because he wrote a play inspired by it. But what does that quote mean to you two? And how do you think it probably applies to Desmond and Tanya?
You're muted.
So with the quote that itself, you don't know my better side. Could you say it to me one more time? Sorry.
The quote is, "No one knows my better side, and that's why most people can't stand me."
Exactly. Whenever I intake that, I just get this image of caring, overreacting on whatever a Black man has done to her that is not that big of a deal, but she overreacts based on the things that she has been brought up to, know as far as what her parents has instilled in her, the ideologies that has been, carried with her all the way until whatever age that she's currently is. If you take the time out to talk to whoever the Black man or a Black person is, you'll find out that homie likes pop chips just like you. Homie watches American Idol. Homie likes watching football. All these things that are American that brings us all together is what we do. You know what I'm saying? We are the same. The only thing that's different about us is our upbringing and the color of our skin, and that's about it. So if you just take the time out and learn our better side, it'll make this, this whole living together with one another in this nation easier. And I think that's important. I think that's a huge thing to, realize. I don't know if I answered the question or not, but yeah, that's what I took away from it.
And Kenedi, what was anything you took away from it?
I take away I mean, everybody knows the stereotype of, black men, the angry black man, the loud black man, the aggressive black man. And it's stereotypes that we've been brought up with our entire life. I mean, white people and black people. I mean, and I think when I hear that, that's just what it makes me think of. People just assume something based on nothing. They have no idea who you are, no idea what your values are, but they just, I don't know, they see you as this stereotype that they have put on the black community themselves. It's not like we came up with it, they just, that's what they did. And it also makes me think of like, they don't take the time to realize the person behind everything. Like when, this is a bad example, I guess, but like when a young white man shoots up a school full of children, they say, oh, he has a life. Oh, he has mental issues. Oh, he's hurting. But when a black boy is walking down the street with a bag of Skittles, he had to be up to something, so they kill him. There's just no common ground. Yeah. Right.
I know that personally aggravates me as a person, where it seems like we always feel like the need to air out the dirty laundry of the deceased when it is a black man and a cop. I don't know why that has to be, I don't know why we have such a double standard in this world, but I really do think, Kurt, that you did a good job of humanizing both these characters and, like they said, not diving into the stereotypes commonly found in these roles. This is a question for all three of you. Because of this movement has inspired a lot of artists and a lot of playwrights. It has inspired a lot of change, especially in our theater industry. What is your hope, all three of you, for the future of theater when discussing topics like Black Lives Matter, and when bringing in more artists of color to have a seat at the table and to really plan out a season, make sure there's as much representation as possible and that there's as much listening going on as possible? Because I feel like it's a very powerful thing that you ended the play with the words, they're listening. Because I think now is the time for everyone to be listening to what our friends of color and our artists of color have to say.
Yeah, it's basically, sorry.
Whoever wants to go first, I think
Kurt, I guess it's me. Yeah, it's basically what you said. I hope definitely that there's more representation in theater going forward. That's something that I want to really speak for and be an example of as a disabled person. And also, I hope that it's a lot more than the script. I hope that so many more people make scripts that are about this time, because everybody who's living in this time knows that we are living in history now. This is going to be a chapter, at least, in a history book, or definitely entire books will be written about 2020. And so that's what theater is all about, baby. It's all about giving voices to those that don't have a voice. So I hope that people with a lot more time and money and passion that even I do can make scripts about this type of stuff. I hope that there's a lot of like all Black performances or shows that really show stuff.
Kenedi?
Okay. Like what I hope for in the future is that when I'm sure Tyren thinks the same thing as I do, but sometimes when I get cast as a lead or whatever, I sit and have to question if it's because they decided we need more color or because they actually want me there. And I hope that one day that we don't have to question ourselves and we know that our talent is what's speaking for us instead of people having to just add a little bit more color to the cast. And right now, because yes, I am Black, but also I'm half white, and I have my own privilege built in because I obviously am very pale. And right now, my skin color and my type of hair, it's like, it's a trend right now. It's, you know, it's something that is wanted to look like a mixed person. And when you look in Hollywood, you see all these girls that look like, obviously Zendaya is amazing and she's beautiful, but she doesn't have to be every single Black character that they put on screen. There needs to be,
right.
there are many beautiful dark-skinned women and men out there that are just as talented and just as beautiful. And I hope that we get to see the full rainbow.
I hope so too. Tyren?
I hope that going forward as artists, as professors, as anybody who is in the administrative industry, as far as theater or film goes, or any kind of art spectrum is concerned, it just goes back to the point that I said before. Care. And if you care enough, you'll do the research and build a bond with those that you have in your respected fields to learn more about their background so you can better benefit them in whatever production that you decide to put them in. And when you put them in it, you don't put them in it as a token, right? So whenever you have any kind of season that you put together, there's always that one ethnic show. I look at that one ethnic show as like Black History Month. And I think Black History Month is kind of like, all right, you didn't have your seat at the table, but here's the kids' table. And we got that for you. And now that we've done that, we're good to go. And, you know, we've done everything that we can. We're going to keep on doing with our own thing. No, man, like I don't want that to be disregarded. But at the same time, going forward, I think it should be more inclusive of everybody around it. I'm watching Masters of None with Aziz Ansari. He talks about, he has this one episode of how hard it is to be an Indian American man and secure roles that aren't your normal, typical person running a convenience store. And how if you have a group of friends that, you know, you're trying to audition with, and there's a cast of 3, and you have 2 Indian guys who are killing it. Oh, we can't cast them because we don't want to make it an Indian show. But why the hell not? If it has good writing in it and the people that are in it are talented, people are going to watch that. There should be no judgment based on art. You know what I'm saying? People should consume it for what it is and how good it is. Period. Point blank. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel going forward. And I hope people share that same intimate, and you know who you are watching this. And I hope you take a step back to check yourself. Because the way that things have been going on, it's been a very bigoted all the way through. The things that we've seen in the theater department and film departments and things of that nature replicate what's happening in life. White people control everything, and so they control the entertainment industry too. All right? But how are we claiming that we're an inclusive society and an inclusive discipline, but yet y'all control everything? We should be setting the precedent of what's to come. We are the change that's what's to come. Theater and performance and acting, period, is so powerful that it shapes people's narratives and perspectives on life. So if you're not doing your job, you completely missed it. And you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be marginalizing people. This isn't the practice to be doing that. Nah, fam. So my mission is to get people to care. My mission is to get people to open their eyes about what's happening around them, and not just using people like us, people like Kenedi, people like Michael Anthony, anybody who is a person of color as a token. Because that's not what we are. We lead shows, and we add color, representation, and beauty to everything we're a part of. And we've been shaping this since the beginning of time, and we built this bitch. So I don't know what the problem is. Need to get together. That's what I gotta say.
Hell yeah.
I amen all of that. I want to like applaud you and give you an Oscar right now just for that. But like
100%.
you wrote, but yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. 2 final questions. I promise one of them will be a little lighter just because this is an important conversation, but I also like to end things on a lighter note. But the first thing that I want to do end on is because this was called Dear Kitty and it was inspired by Anne Frank and her legacy, What do you think that the life, the words, and the work of Anne Frank means today, especially in 2020, when we're not only going through a pandemic where people are dying, we're also witnessing persecution on a national scale. And we probably even witnessed more persecution than she did because we have the added bonus of technology and cell phones and cameras to see what she probably couldn't have seen or shown to people. What do you think what her legacy is today, to the point that we're still writing plays that take little bits of her diary and make something like Hands Up, Don't Shoot?
Break the cycle. That's all it is, man. Like
Definitely.
Everything that we go through, why are we repeating? Why are we still going through what should have been done? What shouldn't even happened? But it did. We can't change that. But how are we still stuck in this? We shouldn't have to be writing about this. We shouldn't have to be talking about this. It's like, it's human decency at this point. Like if you still got that mindset of way back then, I just break the cycle, because I mean that's just what it's about. Make the change for yourself and the people around you. Don't be afraid to check your people. You hear your people talking crazy, check them. It's okay to lose friends, because how many brothers and sisters are gonna get shot, and moms and dads? I'll lose a couple of friends for that.
Tyren?
Yeah, everything Kenedi said, man. Look, what Anne Frank wrote in her diaries is so important and powerful to what's happening right now, because it's definitely replicated. It's crazy how, like, it's kind of like Shakespeare in a way, how something that was written so long ago is still current and like relevant to what's happening right now. I feel like what Anne Frank wrote is a skeleton of what kind of ideals people should be thinking about in totality. So I think it's important that we draw from people like her. Anybody who got wrapped up in the jail system, anybody who experienced African apartheid, and anybody who wrote any kind of diaries back then. You know, it's just getting people to care about like the stories that they wrote. You know what I'm saying? I think that I had something else that I was gonna say about Anne Frank, but I just forgot. Yeah, man, it's important. Anne Frank, shout out to my girl. She ain't had to die.
No, I'm sure she would definitely, like, people forget she had a sense of humor, and that she would have very much would have loved to know that people are still reading her works right now. Kurt?
Yeah, and I think it's a really prevailing thought that history is doomed to repeat itself, when in reality it doesn't have to. We can learn from the past, and we can look to the past and realize that the things that we see are bad about what happened in the past, there are parts of it that are continuing to this day that we can try to stop. A lot of people think the Holocaust is over, so that means that the world is safe, that world peace has been accomplished. But in reality, it hasn't. There are still so many people that are being subjugated in this country. And we need to think about what are the ways that we treated the Jews back in the 1940s, and how are we treating minorities now, and how is it similar? And how can we change that to make sure that we are constantly working to make this world a good place for every human being on it?
Mm-hmm. Tyren?
I think I remember what I was gonna say. Yes. Second, what Anne Frank went through during the concentration camp is almost just as similar as to what is happening in jail systems. If y'all haven't got to watch Ava DuVernay's 13th on Netflix, you gotta watch it. Like, on some real stuff, the things that these prisoners have been going through, the testimonies, is very concentrated campus. Like, and stuff that I've heard the night that people got locked up for the Houston protests, man. Like, People were denied their medicine. People were denied food. They were seen as numbers, just as people were in concentration camps. Even in jails, prisons, numbers. They take their humanity away from him, throw it in the trash. No, they take it and throw it in a bag for you to pick it up when you get out. And when you get out, shit's different. Bro, you don't even know your phone passcode anymore. Right. When someone says your name, I'm Tyren? Shit, I'm Tyren again. Like, bro, this...
And people wonder why there's so big recidivism rates, because it's because of how terribly we treat those in prison in this country. And we still do terrible things like solitary confinement, which is scientifically proven to make inmates go insane. It is awful.
Yeah. So can you say the name of that movie one more time, Tyren, just to make sure people can go look at it at Netflix?
It's 13th.
13th.
Just type in 13th and you'll find it. Mm-hmm. So educational, so on point, and so powerful.
Mm-hmm. I really want to thank you guys for being so raw and honest with all that's going on in the world right now. I do want to end this on a slightly lighter note, which is all the writers were given a topic to where they had to write about, each character had to have a creative outlet. Now, we had 2 plays before. The first creative outlet was drawing. The second one was arts and painting. Kurt, you chose Street Fighter and YouTube streaming.
Although I will say in this show, it's actually 2 ways that Desmond is artistic. Because there is the esports, but also, what was Desmond arrested for?
There you go.
He was arrested for tagging, which is actually street art, which is actually a message that he was putting out.
So what made you pick Street Fight, other than I know you and you're like one of the biggest video game nuts I know,
yeah,
and you watch those YouTube videos all the time.
Right. So that's a lot. There's a lot of things in the script that are my own influences being permeated into the script, and that's especially the way I do things, the things I'm influenced by, and the things that I see online and on social media definitely permeate everything that I do and everything that I write. So I'm actually not specifically into the Street Fighter competitive community, but I do look at a lot of the Super Smash Brothers competitive community. I changed it to Street Fighter because I wanted to put in the Daigo moment of the 12 fairies because of the message that shows, and I believe that the whole I wanted to put in that monologue of Desmond saying what that moment means to him, and I also put in Street Fighter because that's a lot of what people think these protests are, is fighting in the streets, when in reality it's not. And so I was kind of playing with that a little bit of, oh, he's playing Street Fighter, which the cop, Leonard, thinks is a bad thing, but in reality it's doing good because it's putting good into the world. He's streaming, he's having a career, he's making money in a situation where he might not be making very much money. And he's entertaining people.
Any other gamers here? I know yeah, I was gonna say, I remember improv, Tyren playing Smash with all the boys. I was the only one that was like, yeah, this ain't for me. Y'all have fun.
Yeah, for me personally, games is a part of what I do to decompress and, like, do something for fun. I like Street Fighter. I've been brought up on, like, Mortal Kombat, though. And whenever I do play Street Fighter, I always play with, like, Ken or, like, Ryu. And even when I'm playing Smash, I'm playing with Ken. Like, that is my main. Like, I don't care. Like, I like to fight. I'm a brawler. I will attack you head on, and I'm going to hit you with them combos. Like, I'm not playing with you. I'm bad, but when I get good, it's no telling what I could do to you. But yeah, man, I be on there, like, playing games. I love esports. sometimes when I get a chance, I'll watch a lot of Tekken tournaments because I really enjoy some of the characters on there and how they play some of the characters on Tekken. And if I'm not, into video games, which is, not all the time, but I'm just always cruising on my penny board, just listening to music and finding more music. But yeah, I love video games, so I definitely connect with Desmond.
Yeah,
Kenedi
and also,
gamer. Oh, sorry.
well, just a quick thing with the video game influence. The reason why the main character's name is Desmond is in memoriam of Etika. If anybody knows that streamer, a great guy, very passionate guy that would react mostly to Smash Brothers news, and he passed away many years ago due to depression. And rest in peace, Etika.
Yeah.
This plays
That was
partly
actually,
for you.
that was actually a really nice way to pay tribute to him. Kenedi, gaming, yay or nay? Where are you on this on this scale right now?
Oh, I'm so bad at video games.
Good. Me too.
I'm
Me too.
so bad. I mean, I'll get on the Wii and I'll play me some Super Marios,
Me.
but I'll play Mortal Kombat, and that's about it. You will not catch me on anything else.
Oh no, I relate. Like Super Mario, that was my jam for a while, and then I don't know, I just got bored. It wasn't for me. But
Yeah, no.
It's great. It's great because the two actors that we had for these roles, their view of video games is very similar to their characters' view.
yeah,
of video
yeah.
games.
Tanya's very much like sounds like
Tyren's all
fun,
about
but,
that shit, and then Kenedi with Tanya is like, my brother plays video games and I play with him sometimes, but I can appreciate the art.
Well, okay. This was a great conversation, you guys. I want to thank you all for being a part of this project. Kurt, thank you for writing this. Kenedi, Tyren, I've worked with both of you in school, and I've always been in awe of what you guys would bring to whatever roles. And this is no exception. I'm really happy that you agreed to this, and I'm really happy that you felt comfortable giving us as much feedback as we gave you for this, and that we made it as collaborative as possible. And any final words that you want to say to our virtual audience out there? Or I think we've said what needed to be said at this point. Out.
I just want to say, again, a thank you to Tyren and Kenedi. This production literally could not have happened without their support getting into this, including the comments that were made about the script during the rehearsal process and the changes that I made throughout that in order to let them have their voice into the script. And also to our virtual audience at home, if in watching this, you start to get passionate about this, please, I encourage you to do what you think you can do for this cause, whether it is to go out and protest, donate money, join causes, or making art, writing a play. Don't be afraid to speak out about what you are passionate about, and speak out about the things that matter in your community and the things that matter for other communities.
And also, if you're in a position of privilege, help those who don't have access to that same kind of privilege. You know what I'm saying? Bring everybody up, because their opinions and intake on art is on a level that you are on, especially if you recognize that shit. So support those, stay wholesome, be good people, be smart, and be great. That's all I gotta say to you.
Be excellent to each other and party on, dude.
And party on. Yeah. On that note, thank you guys so much for supporting the Dear Kitty Bake Off these last 3 weeks. Oh, Kenedi, I'm sorry. Did you have something?
No.
Oh,
Sorry.
you went off mute. So it's like, I felt so bad. I thought I was cutting you off. Take two. Thank you guys so much for supporting the Dear Kitty Bake Off these last 3 weeks. We will be going on a hiatus for a while, just as Corona is still going crazy, but do not use that as an excuse to not still find creative outlets. I think the biggest thing we learned from all 3 of these is that it's possible to get your friends together and make something powerful with just a couple of laptops and a 48-hour time period, and the words of a young woman who inspired so many people and still inspires them today. And with that, thank you all. We're signing off, and be safe and stay healthy.
Goodbye.